Apparently, this young millennial generation is unleadable, and they frustrate everyone. They're accused of being entitled and narcissistic, and some have even accused them of being lazy. I think it's an unfair label. The thing we do as great leaders is we're supposed to demonstrate empathy, and I think we've failed the millennial generation, which is we haven't demonstrated empathy, but rather have just accused them and expressed our frustrations. The funny thing is, so many leaders are so frustrated by this generation that they've given up trying to lead them and now just ask them what they want. And they say bean bags and free food and flexible work hours and open work plans. And many amongst this generation, and the millennials are defined as a group of people born around the year 1984 and add another 20 years. Many in this generation have been subject to what has been described as a failed parenting strategy. Many of them got into advanced classes in schools not because they necessarily deserved it, but because their parents complained. And then may have even gotten better grades, not because they earned them, but because the teachers didn't want to deal with the parents. And then they graduate, and they get a job, and instantly they discover that you can't have whatever you want just because you want it. You get nothing for coming in last, and your parents can't help you get a promotion. I've even heard stories of parents complaining that their kids didn't get a promotion. I've heard stories of parents filling out job applications, which is sort of astonishing. In an instant, many in this generation have their entire self-image completely shattered immediately. And what that results in is it shakes their self-confidence. And so you have a disproportionately high number of people of an entire generation growing up with lower self-esteem, lower self-confidence than previous generations. And remember also, they've grown up in an Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook world where they're exceptionally good at filtering, presenting themselves as they want to be seen, curating their lives even. It does in real life. In other words, they're very good at displaying how they want to be seen. So they sound tough, and they sound confident, and they say things like, ask us, we know, where the reality is they don't know, they're incredibly uncertain, they're incredibly unsure, and they don't want anybody to know. The second observation is technology. Now, we know when we engage with cell phones or with social media, we get a hit of a chemical called dopamine. Right? Dopamine is the same chemical that makes us feel good when we find the thing we're looking for. That little elation you get when you find your lost keys. Like, here they are. That comes from this chemical called dopamine. That chemical is released when our phones go bing, buzz, flash, or beep. Right? It's why when we're feeling a little bit down or feeling a little bit sorry for ourselves, we send out 10 texts to 10 friends. Hi, 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 hoping to get a response. Right? Now, dopamine is the same chemical released in alcohol, nicotine, and gambling. And almost all addictions are dopamine-based addictions. Right? Now, we have age restrictions on alcohol, cigarettes, and gambling because we know that a young developing mind is not yet strong enough it's not responsible enough as well, but not strong enough yet to deal with the addictive qualities of dopamine. So we restrict children from engaging in these things until they're older. But we have no such age restrictions on social media or mobile phones. So this is very dangerous, right? When we're very, very young, the only approval we need is the approval of our parents. That's all we need, right? And as we go through adolescence, we start to make this transition where we now crave the approval of our peers. Very, very important for us. It allows us to acculturate outside of our immediate families into the wider tribe. Very good, very important, right? It's high anxiety and high stress, and we're supposed to learn to rely on our friends. Some people, quite by accident, discover alcohol and the numbing effects of dopamine that helps them cope with the stress of adolescence. That connection becomes hardwired. And so for the rest of their life, right? Now, as I said before, social media and mobile phones also release dopamine, and we have no age restrictions on this open access. It's the equivalent of throwing open the liquor cabinet and telling our teenagers, try the vodka to help you get through your teenage years, right? And that's what's happening. Unfettered access